So welcome back to 1001 Nights of Etihad Airways, which is a series where I tell you about my life with Etihad Airways, working for them, life in Abu Dhabi, stuff like that. And this is episode number 3, and this is about training basically. So I already made one video about like a overall, like what my life was like with Etihad Airways and my career there. I was with Etihad Airways for 6 years, and yeah, that's gonna be up there in the card, so the first video. And previously I made the interview episode, so joining Etihad Airways, what the interview process is like, and I had to do it twice. And just a nice kind reminder that this was in 2014. So I imagine, well, what I know is that now they do online interviews, stuff like that, so it's not the same as it used to be, so just keep that in mind. But these are just kind of little stories that I tell about my life with Etihad Airways, and in case you might find these helpful. And thank you so much for your messages, because I got a message, I was messaged quite a few of you asking about the interview or the life in Abu Dhabi and working for them and stuff like that. So thank you for those, and you can keep sending me those, because I do answer your questions. So either here or on Instagram I will be available if you have any questions, because yeah, I mean, as you know, I did a lot of research before I joined them, because I like to be well informed, like that's just who I am. But yeah, so in this video we are gonna get into the training. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so in the interview video, which is gonna be up there, I left it where I got the my acceptance email and call and stuff like that. So basically what happens once you get accepted, it took them about 7 to 10 days to let me know that I was successful in my interview with them. So they sent an email and they said, just hold tight, because we need to wait for an available slot for you, and when we have a training date for you, we will let you know. And that was about another week. So I would say this was in about March. Yeah, this was March 2014. So I had to wait another week, and then they sent me the email that will I be available to join them on April 14th to start my training. And of course I did. So yeah, I said yes. And that's when they called me officially. It's called the golden call or the magic call. And they said, yeah, so we are gonna send you the contract, like, are you up for it? Would you like to join us? Of course I would, yeah. So yeah, and then they sent all the paperwork, so all the visa stuff, the immigration stuff. There are a lot of forms to be filled, also the contract, stuff like that. But also keep in mind, they send us like a workbook, study material, in fact. And I found it very helpful in the long run when I did that. A lot of girls, so my batch was only girls, so a lot of the girls, they didn't do that workbook, and whatever was going on with them, fine. But I actually made time, like during the move and everything, and quitting my job at the department store, I made time to do that bloody thing, and I think it was way over 30 pages. Like just a workbook, like almost like a mini exam. So they give you all the study material as well. And the reason they give you that is that they want to prepare you for the training. So when they're talking about L1, R5, the OFAR, Halo, jump seat, the headset, stuff like that, so a handset. So if I find it very helpful, because like now when I eventually did the training, I already knew what OFAR was, I knew what a handset was, I knew what R5 was, how to call the pilot, that sort of thing. So it really did prepare me for the whole training. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't do it, because obviously they will teach you all these things during training. But I would say if they still send you the workbook, do it. Honestly, it's for your own benefit, because then when they talk about R6, you're like, oh, okay, I already know that. So it's almost like a recap in a way. So did that and then sorted out my life and packed and whatnot. And I left Helsinki was April 12th, so that was Friday, and my training began on the following Sunday. So no, on Sunday. Oh my goodness, on Sunday the 14th, and that's because in the Middle East, Thursday is Friday and Sunday is Monday, because of, in Christianity, that Sunday is God's day. So in most, not everywhere, but especially, well, not everywhere, but like things tend to be closed on Sundays because you're supposed to go to church and stuff like that. So in the Middle East, they don't do that. So your weekend begins on Thursdays, and then you go back to the office on Sunday. So that was kind of fun. That was interesting. So flew out on Friday, and yeah, the thing was, because they sent us like all the information and whatnot, and I found out that I am in batch whatever, and so there were 2 batches joining on the same day, and it was a morning batch and an evening batch, and I will talk about that in a minute. But I think it was a joint email, so we could see everybody's emails and stuff like that. And I'm the type A control freak that I am. I went on Facebook and I created a group for us for the for, I think it was the evening batch, or was it for everybody basically. And so I sent emails to everybody like, hey, I created this Facebook group for us so we can get to know each other and stuff like that, and yeah, get to know each other. And people are like, oh, that's so nice, and people joined the group, and we were chatting there, like packing tips and stuff like that. So that was quite lovely. So some of us were flying, I think most of us were arriving to Abu Dhabi on Friday evening, so that was the 12th. And so I told people, the girls in the group, and I said, hey, listen, so I'm flying out on the 12th, I'm coming from Helsinki, and I will have a stopover, 2 stopovers, I'll talk about that too. And I'll be carrying a big neon green laptop bag. So if you see me, like, come and say hello. And people are like, yeah, definitely, we might be on the same flight. Yeah, definitely, we will come and say hello. So how I flew, and I kind of resent Etihad for this, now that I know how they could have sent me to Abu Dhabi. So at that time, they were partners with Air Berlin and Air Serbia. And so they sent me from Helsinki to Berlin, Berlin to Serbia, oh my God, the capital escapes me, and to Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I had to take 3 bloody flights to get to Abu Dhabi. Well, once I joined them and when I started flying back home, I would always go via Munich. Abu Dhabi, Munich, Munich, Helsinki. So 2 legs, or sometimes Paris, sometimes Istanbul, but never 2 stopovers. It's like, what the hell? But Etihad, yeah, because of this partnership, it was way cheaper for them to do that than to fly me to Munich with Lufthansa or with Finnair, and also with my luggage. So because my luggage would be under the same, be part of the same, like this one ticket basically. So it was easier for them to handle the luggage stuff, because if you have traveled, transferring luggage from one airline to the next can be very tricky. And really what you need to do is, like, let's say I flew with Etihad to Munich and then with Lufthansa, I would have to go to the gate eventually, yes, and present them with my luggage ticket to make sure my luggage would be on that Lufthansa flight. Anyway, so I go by myself, obviously nobody's joining me from Finland or Berlin. So when I get to Serbia, I see like there are groups of like young women, and I'm like, could those be the girls who are supposed to join me on this flight? And like, guess what? None of those bitches came to say hello. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like in the group, people are like, yeah, we will come and say hello. Nobody did. Anyway, then I get to Abu Dhabi, and we have an escort. He is like gathering us. There was quite a few of us, I would say. Maybe about 10 of us, 10, 11 of us. and we go through all the like the special airport immigration office or whatever, because we are there to work. And then there's a minibus for us, and we go to the city because the airport is about half an hour, 40 minutes from the city. And in the email that they sent us, they said that our accommodation is not ready. They're still building the complex, so they're gonna put us in a hotel. And they put us in Dussitani on the outskirts of the city. And I would say at that time that was the most like glamorous or luxurious hotel I have ever stayed in. And so we get in, and they start, you know, handing out the rooms. And some of the girls got like a 5-bedroom presidential suite. There were like studios with a kitchenette and with washing machines, like different rooms that they had available at that time. I just got the deluxe. I just got the deluxe room. I had no kitchen, no washing machine, nothing. But it was a beautiful room, to be honest. Like the nicest room I had ever stayed in, like 100%. I think it was room 2606, so I had a nice view. So because I was one of the last people to get the room, and they said, you know, sorry Heini, like we don't have a studio for you, but you get a very nice view. So it was a decent view, and a big room. I love that room, and a bathtub and big king size bed. I love that bed, and blackout curtains, the whole thing. Some of us, like my batch, the evening batch, we decided to have brunch the next morning, which was Friday, and then go shopping, like get some of the things that we still needed. And funny enough, the girl from the interview who introduced me and I introduced her, she was there, so she was in my batch. So that was kind of nice. So at least I knew one person. Like, it's not necessary if you don't know anybody, fair enough. But it was kind of like, oh, you know, I remember you, Renata. Yeah, we like we sat next to each other during the interview in Barcelona. And then we went to the mall, and I got a handbag and a watch, because you have a dress code. Like, you have a uniform when you are in the academy, when you are trainee, and they will tell you everything. So it's basically the same: the black business suit, skirt, high heels, you need to have a certain kind of watch, and the earrings, we had to have pearl earrings and stuff like that. So they will tell you everything. So I got a watch and a big black handbag from the mall. And then on Sunday, all of us were taken to the academy, because it was like an introduction day. And on that day, we introduced each other, and they talked to us about the batches, because there was the morning batch and the evening batch. And thank God I was in the evening batch, because the morning batch, they started at 8 o'clock, I think, something like that. And we started at 3 p.m. Like, okay, fair enough. We have to stay in the academy until 11, I think. But I'm not a morning person. Like, I get up at 10 a.m., like the earliest 10 a.m. all right? In my opinion, anything that starts before noon should be made illegal. I am not that good, okay? So it was a blessing, because I don't think how I would have been able to do all this exam and study so early in the morning, and then basically, study. I would get out of the academy at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., need to study again for the next day, do homework and stuff like that, and then sleep. I would have not been able to do that, honestly, you guys. I was so lucky that I was in the evening batch. So we did the introductions, then we started filling a lot of forms for our insurance, our IDs, the Etihad ID, the Emirates IDs, stuff like that. There's a lot of paperwork you need to do during that week. Also, that first week, you will do medicals, so you will get quite a few vaccinations. Most of my vaccinations were up to date, so I think I only got 2 or 3 new vaccinations. And so urine tests, they will take your blood, x-rays, stuff like that. So it's a busy time. The training overall is about 6 weeks, so they are very busy 6 weeks. And then we started with Airbus. So we did Airbus 320, 319, 330 and 340, because at that time we didn't have Airbus 380, and then that was a different training altogether. So we started with those, and we learned all about basically Airbus, how the whole plane, what our duties there are. So we learn about the doors, we learn about the systems, like everything there should be known, where the safety equipment are, how to call the captain, how to access the cockpit, stuff like that. Firefighting, what happens if we lose oxygen in the cabin. We will do the doors, we will do ditching, which means if the plane lands on water, so how we evacuate the plane if we are on top of water. They will talk about this too as well, like all these different scenarios and accidents that have happened. It's not a nice watch, these documentaries, and when we spend a day going over all these accidents that can happen, they are not nice. They're really not nice. So it's kind of like at the end of all those videos and documentaries and discussions and all the studying we did, trainer actually asked, like, do you still want to be cabin crew? Because those accidents are not nice. Anyway, so you go over all of those things, and then we have exams. So some of the Airbuses, as I mentioned, the 320s, 330s, 340s, they're basically very similar, but they do have like minor differences. So you also need to be aware of those. And the exams, they are multiple choice, so A, B, C. And for us, we had to get 80% right. So basically you can make 2 mistakes, was it? Like I passed, like I would make 1 mistake here and there. But yeah, I was fine. The doors, like there's a sequence how you do the doors, how you open the door, how you secure the door, stuff like that. So, and the safety equipment. So it's a very busy 6 weeks. So let's say we did the Airbus. After that, we moved on to Boeing. So Airbus is French, Boeing is American, and I hated Boeing. Still to this day, I rather fly Airbus, because I just find that Airbus so much easier than Boeing. And the funny thing is, our trainers were like, you know what, if you can't get through Airbus, Boeing will be like piece of cake. It's like no problem. For me, Boeing was a problem. And so I studied very hard. I learned Boeing like so hard, and still I never liked to fly on Boeing. It's just because of the systems and everything. So basically what you learn on Airbus, you lather, rinse, repeat with Boeing. So again, the same the doors, same the system, same everything. So it's very intense. And oh boy, at this time, because these are very intense weeks, as I mentioned, what happened was one girl, she got sick. So she was actually held back because she had to stay in a hospital and stuff like that. And you can miss a day, like you cannot. So if you miss a day, they will move you back. So to the next batch that is coming, it could be coming the next week or whatever. So they move you back. And we had, I think, three girls joining us from a previous, group, because they were not doing well. They're failing exams and stuff like that. So they joined us. So even though it's a very intense week and you might find it intimidating and the studying and stuff like that. So even if you fail the exam, or if you miss a day for health reasons or stuff like that, they are not just gonna let you go. They are not just gonna make you go home. They will, I think it was twice, like they're gonna move you, like they're gonna push you back twice, and then I think some people were let go of it. Like that's what I heard. So 3 people joined our group, and then the one girl was pushed back because she was sick. But also my group, so like we did form these like little groups. Like I felt that we were very united, but we did form these little groups, like friendship groups. But it so happened that there was this group of mean girls, but not as glamorous, not nearly as glamorous as the real mean girls. And apparently they were making fun of some of the other girls who were struggling because of their lack of English, or they just couldn't understand the material, stuff like that. And for whatever reason, these mean girls, they found out that these girls are struggling like a lot. And they started making fun of them. So eventually these struggling girls, they talked to the trainers, and then the trainers contacted our disciplinary people in the office. And I remember one night they came, some from the office, and with the trainers they gave us like a long talk about this, like how we need to be friendly, and you know, we are all in this together and stuff like that. And I was kind of like, for fuck's sake, I am studying day and night for this thing. I don't have time to make fun of other people. That's not even my personality. I honestly, I never understood these people who have to make fun of other people. It's like, is your life so goddamn boring that you need to make fun of other people? So I was like really sitting there, it's like, this is such an epic waste of time. He's like, okay, fine. So those girls, like they got justice, and I don't know what happened to these girls, if there was any disciplinary action taken against them, because obviously this is not tolerated. But I'm like, just focus on yourself, yeah. It's a lot of information in 6 weeks, and then you need to be a professional cabin crew on board. Not only does your team rely on you, the captain, the pilots rely on you, and the passengers rely on you. So take pride in your studies, okay? You don't want to be that bitch who goes on board and just doesn't know what's going on. What if something happens, yeah? So anyway, so after that, after Airbus and Boeing and all the aviation security, we touch on dangerous goods, all that sort of things. We move on to first aid. And now first aid gave me a lot of heartache. I'm not into these medical things, like I don't understand it. I have no passion for it. So I struggled. I felt like I struggled during that first aid week. And because it's so important, you guys, first aid, anything can happen on board. You don't know what people, the passengers, have been doing before, or if they're doing something during the flight, or anything can happen basically. So we talked about psychology, we talked about medicine, all sorts of different like medical things. Are death on board or birth on board? It happens, yeah. So talked about all those things and the medical terms and the medicines. We do have medicine on board, so if you do feel sick or whatever, ask the cabin crew. We have medicine to give you. The same thing, we have this little machine that gives like those electric shocks, so if somebody has a heart attack, so we can use that as well. So we have quite a few medical equipments on board. Oh, and the funny thing, eventually when I started flying, ideally, if you are a doctor or a nurse, well, you can put it like when you type in your boarding pass, you can put there like doctor. So sometimes when we have medical cases on board, we will page for a doctor or medical practitioner or a nurse. So make yourself known, because it's a huge help to us if we have an actual medical professional on board. So get this, Abu Dhabi, New York. I have a doctor in first class. So I'm like, oh, I'm kind of curious. I never had like a doctor, because they put it in their manifest, in the boarding pass, that they are a doctor. So I'm pouring him his champagne and what else, and just having a little talk with him. And I'm like, if you don't mind, like, may I ask what kind of doctor are you? And he's like, I'm doctor of IT. That's all well and nice. I'm sure you paid a lot for your degree. But if somebody has a heart attack in first class, I can't rely on your IT degree now, can I? Fine with the heart attack, I would know what to do, but I thought that was just so hilarious. So if you are a doctor of history, I'm whatever, doctor of arts or doctor of acting, whatever, don't put that in there, because we will come running to you and shake you and say, come help us, somebody's, you know, having a heart attack or having like a seizure or something, come and help us. And you're like, I'm doctor of philosophy. It's not gonna help us, okay? But yeah, so I was very worried about my first aid, the exams and the practicals, because we have a practical scenario where we have to practice with that dummy how to do the how to give CPR basically, and what else. So I was worried about that. But I only made one mistake during the written exam, and then the practical was fine. But yeah, I was very worried. Even like my batchmates, they were like, Heini, you look very worried. this whole week. And I'm like, yeah, I really was. I just, first day just woof, but I managed. And funny enough, I never had a medical emergency that I had to deal with. Like those happen all the time, but something that I discovered and I had to deal with, because they say that if you discover a medical emergency, somebody faints or somebody's having a seizure or heart attack or something, you have to deal with it because you discovered this. So it's a very big responsibility. So that's why I was taking first aid so seriously, because it's a serious thing. Like you might save somebody's life. But funny enough, it never happened to me. Like nothing, nobody even fainted on my watch. And after that, I guess the fun part was service. So three kinds of service. We had economy, business class, and first class. We very quickly touched on first class and business class because we wouldn't be working in those cabins. Business class, I think I worked in business class twice while I was still in economy, but like assisting. So first class was like, just here are the products, finished. This is business class, and then this is kind of the service, the wines they have, the food they have. But we mainly focused on economy. So how to set up the cart, the service language, the products, the economic product that we have, stuff like that. Yeah, service language, stuff like that, responsibilities, whatnot. So that was quite fun. It was like a nice, relaxing, like, because most of us come from customer service before, and especially from the food service industry. Like a lot of people, they have been working for hotels, and I have restaurants experience, customer service experience, stuff like that. So that was kind of like, most of us already knew like what that service is about. So the service is the part where airlines get to shine. So obviously that's why they put so much, anyway, they, especially the Middle East airlines, the service part is so important to them, because that we are the face of the airline and the service that we provide. The product is a very big part, but I would say it's literally 50-50. Like the cabin crew who does the service, and then the products that we give. For example, Qatar, they give champagne in economy. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to. 6 years ago, Qatar was serving champagne in economy. And don't give me, I don't mean Prosecco, I actually mean champagne, which was like, wow. So that sort of thing. So the product and the people who serve the product are very important to airlines. So that was so much fun. And so during this service thing, we went to visit the catering. Oh, I forget to mention, you also get to visit the aircrafts, yeah? So Airbus, you will be taken to visit the aircrafts. And these are during when aircraft has just landed and they're cleaning it and the other crew is gonna come on board. So it's very busy, but you get to see the airplanes, like IRL. So we did that for Airbus and also for Boeing. And then we practice, do all these practical things. So they actually built a mock-up of the plane where you get to practice. So you get to practice all the firefighting, the service, whatever. So you will be spending quite a lot of time in that mock-up, like the mock plane. There's also simulation for firefighting. There will be real fire and you get to kind of fight it. And the ditching, they have a pool where you practice like getting on the raft and stuff like that, so can get quite physical. So during the service week, we went to visit the catering of Etihad Airways, the catering facility. And on that day, we were waiting outside. It's scorching hot, like 35 degrees in our business uniforms and whatever. And so we go into the catering facility and we go into the fridge that is so cold that we actually needed like proper winter gear. And once we left that catering facility, I started feeling very sick, like I'm coming down with something. And I think this was maybe the second day of service or something. And I had high fever for the rest of the service training. It was not pleasant at all, as you can imagine. I had a fever of about 38, sometimes 38, 39 consistently. Thank God I had brought my own medicine from Finland, my ibuprofen, and I was taking that. It was 400 3 times a day, morning, afternoon and evening, It's just that's how sick I was. But I didn't want to stop the training because I knew they would hold me back. I would have to, go transfer to another batch and what else. And kind of thank goodness I didn't, that I was able to finish my training, but it was very hard. It was very, very hard, you guys. I honestly, I don't know how I survived that. Yeah. And not just like the training, the exams and stuff like that, but just in general, because I got pneumonia. So that's during all this week, like we will also be fitted for our uniforms and stuff like that, finish the medicals and what else. And so the last thing that we do is obviously the service exam, and I got 100%. So that was so nice, 100%. And then the last day is called This Is It. So we do a whole flight in the simulator So from the beginning, once we board the plane, we start with the security checks, and then boarding, do the the demonstration. Etihad has a video, so we don't need to do the emergency, the safety demonstrations. We don't need to do that, but we still need to know it in case the video doesn't work. And then we move on to service, and then landing, that sort of thing. So it's like a full play in a way that we get to do in the mock-up. So that's it, and that we need to do that as a group, so we can't fail that. So we manage and everything, and during that afternoon, so we have the ceremony, the graduation ceremony, and some girls actually had their parents come over and celebrate with them. And I don't know if I guess the girls went out and celebrated. I can't remember because I was so sick. Like I was sweating bullets, I was freezing to death. Like that's how bad my health was at that point. But I managed to finish the training even though I was so sick. And also on that day we got our first rosters, and the roster is basically the schedule for the month. And as now we are what's the word? Oh my god, it will come to me. But basically, so for 6 months we are these new joiners, and then they can let us go if they are not happy with us. So it's like a trial period for 6 months. And I believe the first 3 months we were not allowed to request for flights, so they just gave us whatever. And I remember Jeddah in Saudi Arabia was supposed to be my first flight. But like thank God, so this was on a Tuesday. I think we graduated on a Tuesday. And the next day, some of us, we had scheduled a vaccination appointment because we needed to get our second shot of something. Thank God I had done that, because when we were going there, I was still so sick. And then I basically almost like collapsed there. I was kind of like, I can't do this anymore. Like something is deeply wrong with me. I rested the weekend before This Is It and the graduation thing. I didn't study anything. I was just in bed the whole weekend, and nothing was helping me. So I was like, I have no idea what this is. I was suspecting pneumonia because Dr. Google. So eventually, we went to the clinic. I collapsed. They put me in the bed and then did x-rays and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, Heini, you have pneumonia. Like I forget which lung it was, but it was like, because the lung is like kind of like this shape, but long. So whole like the bottom part of my lung was just infected. And the funny thing was, because when you have pneumonia, many people, they can't even talk. Like they're coughing, there's no voice, no nothing. I was perfectly fine except for the high fever. So then okay, this is a story for another time. Yeah, this will be my next video, like being sick in Abu Dhabi, being sick when you're out of your home country and stuff like that. So that will be the other video. But basically, this is it. All right, so that is it. Thank you so much for watching. And it's like, if you made it till the end, give me a little airplane in the comment section, so I know you watched the whole thing. And I hope it helped you. All right, yeah, indeed. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Obviously, I can't say what's happening with them at the moment, but so this is a little trip down memory lane. And yeah, maybe this will be very informative to you, hopefully. Those of you who want to become cabin crew, not even with Etihad necessarily, but yeah, in general. So yeah, this would be the training part. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe because I do appreciate those. So again, to the new subscribers, hey, hello, how are you? And I will see you in my next video. So until then, bye, ciao.